What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for the Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2. This is episode 3, and with me, as always, I have Bluespade.
Okay. I had some problems with this episode even before we started this. I just can't believe how quickly they ended this fight, you know, after they just literally introduced the Spirit Tortoise. And there was also a numerous amount of problems, like I did with the other two episodes. It's just the amount of stuff they cut out and rearranged to, in comparison, from what was presented in the light novel. Like, it's like the first three episodes have already covered the entirety of volume 6 of the light novel already, which I just can't believe they're already at this point, and there's only 10 more episodes to go. So I don't know how much they're going to end up adapting, for the next 10 episodes, whether if it is going to be maybe they're going to instead cover 4 different light novels, just for this one 13 episode season.
That is pretty bad if that's what they're going to try to do. I mean, that is definitely, they would be rushing it pretty bad if in that case, they're going to cover 4 different volumes.
The entire fight, against the Spirit Tortoise, just the first part of this anyway, by the end of volume 6, it just went by way too quickly. As soon as they introduced that, that thing, I don't know how they could just, I don't know, I just felt like they screwed it up. It's just the overall CGI of that thing was just freaking atrocious. I thought the CGI in the first season was a lot better than the Spirit Tortoise in this episode.
I have to wonder if there was some kind of production issues with the season or something, because when I saw the CG for it, we have kind of seen it briefly before, but yeah, I kind of figured that when it was going to show up in the series, it would look a little bit better than what we were seeing. Because there are some segments, at least in the opening, where it looks like it's 2D animated. So I was kind of expecting something like that. Maybe not the whole time for it to be 2D animated, but yeah, the whole time it's there. It's really, really bad CG. It doesn't look good.
It baffles me just due to the fact that they delayed this season twice last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. That's what has me really scratching my head about this, because if there were production issues, they had more time to work on this, and I just don't understand how it came out looking like this. It's just I feel like they could have done a lot better with how the tortoise looked. It's not the worst CG I've ever seen, but it's not that great. It's just really, it's not. I kind of expected better from what I've seen of the series so far, and I kind of. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with the way it turned out. The only thing I can figure is I guess I didn't really think about this, is maybe it's because it is the same studios, and maybe because they're also working on Main Abyss Season 2, is maybe that's why they didn't have a lot of time to really refine the Shield Hero as much as they could. But that's the only thing I could figure, because as far as I know, that's the only thing that I know they would have been working on. But yeah, I don't know, as someone who's an anime only, it did definitely feel like the fight, it went by way too quick. I did like at least that in this episode there was kind of a break from all the all the dialogue heavy scenes, at least, that we were getting. And it's transitioned more to the actual fight with the tortoise, although I didn't expect it to happen so fast. I thought they would kind of build up to it more before they actually ended up fighting the tortoise. But, as we learned at the end of this episode, that there is more to come in that regard, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know. It definitely did feel like they everything kind of went by a little bit too quickly. And, it just felt like, I don't know, that that Naofumi kind of had, I don't know, he had a little bit too easy of a time taking it down. It might have been like that in the light novel too, so I don't know, but I don't know. I thought it wasn't terrible, the episode itself. I guess you'd say I have some mixed feelings about it. Like it's okay, but I guess it really just kind of goes back to my whole feelings on the this arc as a whole so far, and like I'm not. I feel like I guess I should say I feel like I'm not as invested in what's happening in this season as I was in the first season, because it's like, you know, now Fumi's already cleared his name. He's no longer like vilified by everybody, and I mean that's fine. But what I kind of wanted to see was like, you know, some more character development maybe with him and the other heroes, maybe where they would have to actually kind of like learn to work through their differences or something, and maybe that'll happen later in this arc. But well, it's not. It kind of like it's been like it just feels like we're kind of thrown into this. It almost doesn't really feel like I'm watching the same series in some ways, because it's like it doesn't have anything to do with like the waves they were fighting in the first season. Now it's like, I mean, it does, but you know, it's like there's the threat of this thing we didn't really know about until now, the Spirit Tortoise, and we pretty much have to kill him so the waves can come back, and we have to, so we can save the world from the waves or something. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of the plot as much as I was in the first season, because there was reason to get more invested in what was happening with Naofumi and his struggle and the other here, you know, all that kind of stuff. But here it's just like, I don't know. There's not really, I feel like there's not much reason for me to care about what's really happening with this Spirit Tortoise and them having to fight it. I don't know. I don't know if maybe that's just, you know, like I said, it might not be just so much a problem with the anime. It might be like that in the light novel or the source material too, where this arc kind of felt, you know, was maybe one of the weaker ones or something, because that's kind of how it feels to me so far.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Yeah. In regards to the other three heroes, this particular arc was supposed to help in their development as, you know, as characters overall. There was supposed to be a lot of like scenes involving what's going on with Moriyasu and Mine, and then what happens with Ren and Itsuki altogether, and then it builds up into their development in the following arcs after the Spirit Tortoise event. But what also puzzles me is why they took them out in this fight. You know, if whoever who has read the light novels, they actually do take part in this fight that happens in this episode. It's just, I just don't know why they didn't put him in there.
Yeah, it is kind of strange, like that they're being sidelined the way that they are. Not that I really, I don't know, because I never really liked them in the anime that much. I mean, I feel like in season one it felt like they developed a little bit in the latter half, but I still didn't really care much for them, and it is especially weird since they've kind of built this conflict or this this kind of subplot up with Rishia and Itsuki, and they're not really focusing on the other heroes. So I don't really understand why they would kind of introduce that and then sideline the other heroes the way they have been.
Because eventually people will know each of their backstories and where they came from. Because for people that forgot, is Naofumi and the other three heroes don't come from the exact same Japan. They actually come from like an alternate Japan, like, you know, from each of their timelines.
Yeah.
So it's so eventually you will get to learn each of their backstories, and you know, you'll see, you know, their development from becoming like the most hated characters we've known them since the first season into a more likable cast of heroes like soon afterwards. But it's just I don't know why they didn't they decided to sideline them at this part anyway. I mean, well, based on the opening, it looks like they will be involved later, but it's just I just wasn't expecting them to be sidelined like this.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how they're going to introduce them into the plot in the anime now that they've, that they're not really taking part in this fight.
No. I mean, overall, the overall fight in this is just really straightforward. It's just, the Spirit Tortoise, like Naofumi and the rest of the royal army, go and fight this thing. They distract it on several points, so they can surround it by various amounts of ballistas around the mountain area, and then try to take it down, like including shooting its leg to keep it incapacitated. But you see, like, the tortoise itself, like, it manages to decimate. They said more than half the army up to that point. And then even when it's incapacitated, it can like throw out like these magic spikes from its back, and then just decimate the royal army even further by shooting projectiles all over the place.
Yeah, they basically try to set up various traps for the tortoise to take it out. And what ends up really helping is this incantation from these mages that end up kind of pinning it in place or something, I guess, like, so it can't really move.
Yeah. I
think we also see one of the side characters, I think, from the first season, which is like I think was it like a cat girl or something, or like one of the mages. I think she ran like a shop or something. I don't know, but I kind of remember her from the first season.
I think I completely forgot about that, but I do also remember one of the soldiers that fought.
I noticed him too. Like, I think I wonder if they're trying to build him up into being like a bigger character or something, because like he does show up quite a bit from time to time, I've noticed. Or, I don't know, or it could just, I guess, be a side character. But yeah, like, you kind of see things from his perspective for a bit, because you see a lot of his comrades getting killed by the tortoise.
Yeah, and I don't know, but like I said, just the ending of this fight just went pretty much ends immediately after this, just abruptly. You see, like, I think the mages managed to blast the side of the tortoise's neck, which gives Naofumi and the others an opening to completely decapitate that thing, which is crazy. Like, Naofumi summons a giant shield and stabs it in the neck, and then tells Raphtalia and Philo to pretty much, like, I guess, like, shove that shield through its head and then completely slice it off after that.
Wasn't it that, like, Ost kind of like buffed the shield or something to make it really huge?
Yeah, she helped
slice through the neck.
She pretty much helps empower the entire party, like, just pretty much like enhance their abilities even further because she's part of the spirit tortoise. So yeah, with her help, they managed to decapitate that thing. And soon afterwards, by the end of the episode, they pretty much expect that Ost is going to disappear after the tortoise ended up dying. But they see it, to their surprise, they see her still alive, and she pretty much confirms that the tortoise is still alive somehow. And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I kind of have mixed feelings about it. Like, I mean, the CG is pretty terrible, and I just don't understand how. I mean, I don't know how it looks like this when they've had so much time to work on this season, and especially when we kind of see it looking at least a little bit different in like the openings and stuff. It doesn't look this bad. So I don't really know why it just it looks the way it does. It was kind of like underwhelming, honestly, like especially when it was kind of built up to be this big threat, and it's just this like really terrible looking CG thing. But yeah, I kind of I don't know, I kind of liked and I guess didn't like that part about the episode. I liked that it was a more action focused, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, all the stuff that I'm hearing they're cutting out kind of sounds like it's pretty important. But also, like I mentioned before, I wish we would have seen the other heroes show up at this point to help out, like, apparently what happens in the novel, because it really does, like, as much as I don't like those characters, I would have liked them to have shown up again so that they could get some of the development it sounds like they really need. And especially also since we still don't really know much about them anyway. I kind of would like to have, at least learn a little bit more about their characters, because we don't really get to learn too much about them in the first season anyway. Well, and also not to mention the whole thing with Itsuki and Rishia. Like, it would have been a good opportunity to, maybe go a little bit more into that, but I don't know. So far, like, and also like I mentioned before, the whole thing with the Spirit Tortoise, I feel like I just don't have much of a reason to care, aside from just the fact that it's halting the waves temporarily or something. And I guess the whole mystery behind why it was woken up. But other than that, like, I don't know. I don't really, like I mentioned before, I'm not really as invested in what's happening in the Spirit Tortoise arc, like I was in the first season. Yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of my whole complaint about this season so far is, I don't know. Like, maybe it'll get better later, but right now I don't really care much about the whole Spirit Tortoise thing. So it's pretty much my thoughts on it so far.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, if you remember, like the entire first season, which is like 25 episodes altogether, it's like it covers 5 volumes. But I'm just surprised that they just ended the 6th volume by 3 episodes like that. I mean, not to mention, just like, I don't know, just the amount of stuff that they took out. Like that stuff was important to the plot and development of certain characters. I just don't know why they're deciding to rush this unless they have a reason to.
I mean, I suppose some things could still be put in later, in a different scene or something, but there are some other things that I don't think they could get fixed, such as, the other heroes not having shown up at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens next week. It's just, I just don't know how they're going to handle the remainder of the season. And it also, concerns me in how they're going to handle season 3 as well, because supposedly it's also going to be about the same number of episodes as season 2 is.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't really have much else to say about the episode. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
I mean, well, honestly, I hope that, things get better for the next several episodes. It's just right now, I don't know. It just leaves me scratching my head of like how they're handling this arc and how they're just blatantly just rushing this this quickly, this early on to the season.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't really, that it stops doing that, I guess, that it stops rushing things from this arc. Maybe in the next episode, the pacing will go back to, being at least somewhat normal, and not kind of rushing through things and skipping content. Because, as an anime only, I mean, sometimes it's really hard to tell when they're doing that. So to know that they're doing that just kind of annoys me. So especially like, if I were to have read it, I probably would be more mad about it, I guess. But yeah, it's still really annoying nonetheless. Hopefully there is a reason why they're kind of skipping things the way they are. Maybe they're, like I mentioned before, maybe they're going to put some rearrange things or put them in some other scene or something like that, like kind of the way they did with Naofumi Oda having the village now instead of later, which is a weird change. But I mean, I guess you could take that as an example of something they decided to put at a different point in the story for whatever reason. So maybe that's what they're doing here, maybe just to make it flow better. But I mean, it seems like it's not really helping it flow better if that's the case, because I really feel like even as an anime only, it does kind of feel like the pacing is a little bit weird. But I guess we'll have to see. Hopefully that's why they're doing it this way. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.